OmniPoke set reviews take way too long. Let's get the headlines done in less than 10 minutes. Let's go. So, here we go. Ultra Prism cards in under 10. Let's go. Key items and supporters and all that good stuff. Cynthia lets you shuffle and draw 6. It's going to replace Sycamore in Stage 2 decks, and is going to be an additional supporter card in a handful of other decks as well to be a 9th or 10th supporter card. Going to be a 4 as soon as Sycamore rotates. Volkner allows you to search your deck for an item card and a lightning energy. Not very relevant right now. Could be used in the Orangaroo Looker deck that we have already profiled. Other than that, not too many applications, but it's good to know. It could also be used in wishy-washy mill style decks as a one-of, just because you have the GX attack from Xurkitree. Palpad comes back, lets you get 2 supporter cards from your discard pile, put them straight into your deck. Not quite as good as Versus Seeker, of course, a lot slower. Definitely going to be a tech card in Zoroark GX variant, so that you can recycle Acerolas and Guzmas for mirror matches. Definitely going to be an important card in those decks. May also find its way as a one-of in certain other builds, cutting down something like one of your Guzmas, because Palpad can be, in air quotes, more Guzmas in the late game, whilst also being more consistency supporters as well, if you need them to be. Also, it can mitigate the power of Sycamore in terms of the downside. On the left side of your screen, you can see the Cyrus Prism Star. It's a new mechanic that we do get from the Ultra Prism set. The mechanic of a Prism Star card is that you can only have 1 copy of each single Prism Star in your deck. You can have multiple Prism Stars, but only 1 of each. And when you play this card, or when it goes into the discard pile, it goes to the Lost Zone instead. So even if you don't play the Cyrus, you Sycamore away the Cyrus, it will go into the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile. So essentially, it means you can't re-access it with anything like a GX attack from Decidueye or Gardevoir. So it makes it a little bit more balanced. In general, they're more powerful. There's some pretty powerful Prisms out there. Cyrus itself, it says that you can play this card if your active Pokemon is a water or metal Pokemon. And if that's the case, your opponent chooses 2 bench Pokemon and then shuffles the remainder of their bench into their deck. So limits your opponent's bench to try and do some disruption. I personally think it's worse than Parallel City right now, but when that rotates, it could be a really good card. Fun fact, it was printed incorrectly in English, but it's been errated, as you can see on TCG. Super Boost is another Prism Star. This is an energy card. If you have 2 Stage 2s in play, while this is attached to one of those Stage 2 Pokemon, you can get 4 Rainbow Energies, so huge incentive to build up, 3 Stage 2 Pokemon. If you build up 3 Stage 2s, you're probably winning anyway, so it's definitely a win more card. Then we have the 2 unit energies, where they're essentially like reprints of Blend, but slightly worse because there's only 3 types of each. And as you can see, it can make combos alongside things like Rainbow Energy for some dual type decks. On to the tons of metal support that we do get in this set. It's probably the big headline of Ultra Prism, that there's going to be a bunch of metal cards. Mount Coronet, a great stadium that is essentially energy retrieval, but it's also a stadium, so it can help fight multiple things, and it can stay on board and get multiple value. That's especially the case if you use the Dialga GX, Timeless GX attack, a big selling point of this card. It lets you take its second turn. That's insane. So now Mount Coronet is essentially a free fisherman. You get to play more supporters, and you get to attack twice. So Dialga is a really big swing card if you get the 5 energy attachments onto him. Dialga also a good early game setup Pokemon because Overclock allows you to draw up to 6 cards, so it's like a mini Tropical Beach, if you will, in those sorts of Stage 2 decks, because as you can see to the right of Mount Coronet, you can see there's Magnezone. It has Rain Dance for Metal Energies, so you can get some of these high energy attack costs rolling quite nicely. To the far left of your screen, you can see Duskmane Necrozma GX, new beat stick. It can do 220 with a regular attack, and it can do 250 with a GX attack if you're behind on prizes. Both very, very strong attacks, will be a mainstay in the Magnezone list, could also force Turbo Metal decks to become a thing, and also could be very good in Silvally as a new partner as a metal type. To the far right, it's another Prism Star card, the Solgaleo, very, very strong card. Radiant Star allows you to attach a metal energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like, equal to the number of opponent's Pokemon in play. So very similar to a Nitro Tank GX attack, but it's just a regular attack on a single prize Pokemon with 160 HP. Absolutely, completely bonkers card. It makes Turbo Metals potentially very good. Also could be good in the Magnezone list as well if you're being Shadow Stitch locked, for example. So very, very good card. It can also deal 160 on its own, so Choice Band gets 1-hit KOs. Beast of a card, amazing one of, will definitely be a mainstay in metal decks. There's also tons of lock cards in the new format. There's going to be the Oranguru Looker combo. Oranguru lets you put 3 cards from your discard pile straight back to the bottom of your deck. Looker allows you to draw 3 cards from the bottom of your deck, so it's like a Howl, but has synergy with Oranguru. There's also a item called Looker's Whistle that lets you get 2 Lookers from your deck into your hand. That's quite nice. So the combo is going to be used with Raichu to paralyze lock and then mill them out. Ancient Crystal, a little tool for Regigigas that did well in a Brazilian regional recently, and it's essentially a really powerful Eviolite, so you become more tanky than a Wishy-Washy, but you're still weak to fighting, so still probably quite bad. Mars is a new supporter, also good for those sorts of mill decks, because you get to get a random card from their hand out, and you get to draw 2 cards yourself, so it's like a Kukui style effect, where you get the additional little thing, and in this case, Mars is essentially a Tormenting Spray built in with 2 draw cards. Pretty good supporter. I think it will overtake a handful of copies of Team Rocket's handiwork in those sorts of mill decks. Luxio lets you do Quaking Punch, but it's a stage 1, a little bit awkward. The Shinx helps it evolve though, but I still think it's really hard to build around. Probably not going to be a very strong card just because it's not quite perfect, even with things like Shining Celebi or playing things like Muscle Dumbbells. You don't do enough damage. Acerolas everywhere, probably still quite bad. Glaceon GX, probably one of the best cards of the set now that I've tested with it a little bit. Freezing Gaze is like when it's like playing a Trevenant, but instead of ability lock, when it's in the active, it's going to be EX and GX Pokemon can't use their abilities. So very, very disruptive, stops Tapu Lele, stops trade. These are really big things. Frost Bullet is Night Spear, and Polar Spear GX can do big one-hit KOs if you set them up with damage. Glaceon, very, very good card. Probably going to be a quad list with disruption tools, but could also be paired with Zoroark as well. Other big names, Zoroark, Garchomp Lucario, pretty interesting, stage 2, stage 1 deck. Precognitive Aura, amazing ability to help you search out your specific pieces. Garchomp can get one-hit KOs with Royal Blades. Empoleon is a stage 2 with Total Command. It again can do big damage, but is based on your opponent's bench size, so not quite perfect. Pachirisu uses Snuggly Generator to accelerate just like Xerneas would do with the Xerneas Break deck. Pretty cool for Raichu GX, but I still think it's probably not good enough because you sacrifice too many prizes in the early game, and you're still using a 2-prize attacker in the late game, and of course you're completely weak to fighting, and Buzzwell's insane. Leafeon GX, 200 HP, amazing ability, lets you heal. Solar Beam does 110, which is pretty normal, but Granbloom GX is the big selling point here. You can evolve up all your basic Pokemon on your bench for just 1 Grass Energy, and you're an evolution, so you can build up to multiple Decidueyes, which could be cool, and there's also some interesting stage 1s out there you can also try and use to do well. Dawnwing's Necrozma is basically Rush-In from Keldeo, but it's weak to Dark, so probably still quite bad. Finally, the other Prism Star cards you have, there's going to be the Giratina Prism and the Darkrai Prism, pretty much do the same thing. When you play them, it allows you to put 2 energy cards from your hand onto them. The Giratina does it for Psychic, Darkrai does it for Dark. They're both, their attacks are garbage, ignore them. Lunala, very, very similar to the Prism Star Solgaleo, but it does it for Psychic Energy instead. And Psystorm, slightly worse attack than Corona Impact, but could still be useful. That is the headlines of Ultra Prism in under 10 minutes. Let's check the time. And I'll pretty much say peace out. Still 2 minutes remaining. My God, I'm a G. There you go. Ultra Prism in under 10 minutes. Let me know if you like this video, guys. And we'll do more in the future if you do. If not, and it was too quick for you, I don't know, go on half speed or something. Cheers. Bye.